All right, we're about to take a little trip inside your brain. We're going to uncover the real story behind motivation, distraction, and that one little molecule that gets blamed for, well, pretty much everything these days, dopamine.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? You sit down to do something important, something you need to do, and suddenly your phone feels like it has its own gravitational pull. It's this constant little itch you just have to scratch. But what if the reason for that pull isn't what we think it is at all?
For years, the story we've all been told is pretty simple. We scroll, we shop, we snack. And why? Because dopamine makes it feel good. It's like our brain's reward system, giving us a little pat on the back. Seems straightforward enough.
Well, what if I told you that modern neuroscience has a huge update to that story, and that this one little shift in understanding explains pretty much everything about why we struggle so much with distraction in our modern world? Okay, so here it is. This is the big reveal. Your brain actually has two totally separate systems for motivation and for pleasure. This is the absolute core of it, the difference between wanting something and actually liking it. So think of it this way. Wanting is the chase. It's the craving, the motivation, that little engine that says, go get that thing. And that is driven by dopamine. Liking, on the other hand, that's the actual feeling of pleasure, the satisfaction you get once you have the reward. And believe it or not, that's run by a completely different system in the brain, one that involves opioids. And here's where it gets really interesting. The wanting system, fueled by dopamine, is this massive, powerful network that runs all through your brain. But the liking system? It's these tiny, almost fragile little clusters called hedonic hotspots. And that imbalance is everything. Our huge, powerful drive to want things can so easily overwhelm our much smaller capacity to actually enjoy them.
Now, there's a scientific name for this whole dopamine-driven wanting thing. It's called incentive salience. It was discovered by these pioneering researchers, Kent Burridge and Terry Robinson. And it's basically the magic trick your brain does to turn a totally neutral cue, like, say, the sound of a notification, into a motivational magnet that you feel almost physically compelled to chase after.
So, you have this ancient wanting system that was designed for survival. How does it get so completely hijacked in our modern world? Well, it turns out our world is perfectly engineered to pull all our oldest levers.
Let's just look at 3 areas where this trap is at its absolute strongest. The apps on our phones, the infinite scroll of online shopping, and that constant nagging battle we all fight against procrastination.
This quote, this gets right to the heart of it. It's all about uncertainty. See, your brain actually releases way more dopamine when a reward is unpredictable than when it's guaranteed. It's that powerful maybe, the maybe I'll see something amazing, that keeps us hooked, just like a slot machine.
Seriously, think about it. Your phone is literally a slot machine that you carry around in your pocket. And every single time you pull down to refresh your social media feed, you're pulling the lever. You have no idea what you're going to get. It could be something incredible, it could be boring. It's that randomness that keeps your dopamine system firing and keeps you pulling that lever long after it stops being genuinely enjoyable.
And it's the exact same game with online shopping, isn't it? The real dopamine high doesn't come from owning the new thing. It comes from the anticipation. It's the browsing, the adding it to your cart, the tracking the package. Your wanting system is just absolutely on fire during the chase.
And check this out. This chart shows it perfectly. Brain scans show us that the nucleus accumbens, which is basically the brain's wanting headquarters, is lit up like a Christmas tree before you click buy. See that high orange bar? That's pure anticipation. But then look what happens right after the purchase goes through. The activity just plummets. The chase is over, and that sudden dopamine crash, well, that's what we often experience as buyer's remorse. So what about procrastination? Because this is a big one. It's not a character flaw. It's not about being lazy. Your brain is just running a really simple calculation. That big, important task, it has a delayed, uncertain reward way off in the future. But a quick scroll on your phone, that offers an immediate, guaranteed little dopamine hit right now. Your brain is just picking the path of least resistance, the easier, faster one.
Okay, so that's the problem. It can feel a little grim, but here's the good news. We can absolutely fight back. We can't get rid of dopamine. We wouldn't want to. We need it to be motivated. The whole key is to make it start working for us instead of against us. And it all boils down to this really simple 3-step playbook. First, we have to get control of our cues. Second, we need to start rewarding the right kind of effort. And third, we have to use structure and scheduling to our advantage.
So step 1 is all about weakening those triggers that are constantly hijacking your attention. Turn off all those non-essential notifications. Try putting your phone on Grayscale. You'd be amazed how much less appealing it is without all those bright, stimulating colors. And add friction. Make it harder to do the bad habit. If you have to actually get up and walk into another room to get your phone, you're way less likely to just mindlessly reach for it.
Next up, you've got to retrain your brain to start wanting the right things. A great trick for this is called temptation bundling. So, you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast while you're at the gym. What you're doing is transferring that dopamine anticipation for the podcast over to the workout itself. And, celebrate the small wins. Actually checking an item off your to-do list gives you a tiny dopamine hit that reinforces that productive behavior.
And finally, structure your time. When you use intentional time blocks for focused work, your brain starts to learn that the schedule itself is associated with progress and reward. Dopamine becomes your ally. It gives you the push you need to start and finish a task because the motivation gets attached to the schedule, not to the distraction.
So when you put all of this together, it leads to a really powerful new way of thinking about your own drive and your own motivation.
You hear all this talk about dopamine detoxing and trying to lower your dopamine. Forget all of that. That's a myth. The goal is not less dopamine. You need dopamine to get out of bed in the morning. You need it to chase your goals, to, live your life.
The real goal is to have smarter dopamine. It's about consciously choosing which cues in your environment get your attention and which efforts you want your brain to reward.
This quote really just says it all, doesn't it? The point is, you are not broken. Your brain's wanting system is an incredibly powerful force. The real challenge, and frankly the opportunity, is to learn how to aim that power at things that actually improve your life, instead of just letting it interrupt it.
By understanding this science, you get to move from being just a passenger, dragged around by your impulses, to being the pilot. Your motivation is a powerful engine. The only question left is, where are you going to point it?